Hello everyone. Well, today I'm going to take you into a part of our garden that I haven't taken you into so far. Our railway cutting or railway siding, and it's rather windy today. We've had, as you can see, we've had a couple of days of blustery wind, and it's been blowing all the lovely spring plants around. Looking fabulous at the minute is this Dozier, which is Dozier X rosea, and you'll see we like to match up the colours with the Dozier there to the Valerian Pyrenaica, or the French Valerian. Now this can self-seed a little bit too much if you've got a small garden, but I just love it because it has this wonderful dome-shaped pink flower, pink sorbet, and then it goes into a lovely seed head, which when all the seeds escape, you're left with just the green twigginess shape that looks like a tree, and you can use it in floral art all the way through that time. So this is our first bridge, our entrance. We've got a nice clematis flowering on the conifer there, and the iris sibirica, which I just love. This iris, really nice. So here is our bridge. This was a railway siding to the Eden Settle Carlisle railway that runs through the Eden Valley, and our cutting took stone to the main railway from the abandoned sandstone quarries which are in our wood at the top. This is the largest leafed hosta that we have, and it's called Hosta Mr. Big, and it really is quite large. And we have lots of nice hostas growing in our gardens. So we'll carry on walking through. This was the first part of the garden we actually did create. It's the farthest away from the house. And we got a JCB digger to come and dredge out where the old railway line used to run, because it had silted up over the years. It's about maybe 60-70 years ago it was a siding. And it was full of everything you didn't want, nettles and ivies, ground ivies. So you can see where we've dredged it. It's all lined. When it rains, we haven't had a lot of rain for the past month here, it fills up. The Saracocca humilis, or the Christmas box. And this was full of just wild willow, which we had to chainsaw through. The branches were all cutting across, and you actually couldn't walk through. So you can see where we've actually cut some of the branches there. And we've planted it all up. Quite a few clematis, which are going up through the trees. This is a lovely geranium, Phaeum, Phaeum, and it's geranium samovar, and the leaves have lovely ruby purple markings on them. So the Euphorbia robbii is in full bloom. We manage this. We don't mind if we have a few of the nettles and the wild plants. You can hear the birds. It's really a wonderful place to attract wildlife. Sadly, we lost the red squirrel about 6 years ago, and the grey has moved in. And there is a dray up in the willow trees farther up of the grey squirrel. That is the Dozier tenata in full bloom here at the minute. And the lovely Empress Wu hosta. And next to one of my favourites, and a lot of favourites for everybody, is Hosta June. Quite a few spots have come off June. Next to that is this unusual Carex trifida. And instead of the little green tassels on the common sedge, this has these quite thick, beautiful pale brown spikes. There's a nice dark leafed rhododendron. A few of the rhododendrons in our garden have suffered with the 4 weeks of no rain, and when the flowers have come out, they've been slightly desiccated. The miniature Fatsia japonica. Muirheim is the variety, and instead of the usual cream flowers, this has black flowers on it. The last flowers of the camellia have an acer planted here and a lovely golden ivy. Quite a peaceful area of our garden. And I suppose the best thing that's been said about this was when the Cumbria Life magazine came, gosh, maybe 15 years now, and they classed this as the jewel in the crown of our garden at Hazel Cottage. Last of the Spanish bluebells and some polygonatum. We did dig up a railway wheel which we've placed here as a reminder to what it used to actually be. That is really heavy. It's pig iron. And the humulus, the golden hop, are not to be planted for the faint-hearted, because it absolutely goes all the way up there, and that's where you see that cluster right in the centre of the picture there. That is a grey squirrel dray, just woven through the side shoots of the bird willow. Have some clematis and an ivy that growing right up to the top there. The Doronicum, a lovely flower, and it's so easy to grow as a perennial. I hope I'm not going too fast for you and the picture is quite steady. And we're coming up to the second of our ponds, and there's always water in this pond all summer long. Only about 4 inches deep, and it never dries up. And that's probably why they abandoned this railway sideline, as it's always boggy and it's got moisture. The water comes through onto the path at different parts each year. It's totally different, and it's still really, it's May now, the end of May, and it still hasn't fully dried up. This is the variegated Japanese knotweed, and it's not invasive at all. At its most, it's had a couple of shoots on. This year it's just a single shoot, and the leaves are just as if they're splashed with splodges of a wonderful pale lemon paint. Each leaf is entirely different. I remember I purchased this from Langthorne's Plantery, and the candelabra primulas are really looking quite sensational. These go on for quite some time, and then later on they're followed by the cowslip primula, Primula florindae. So we're going to cross the second bridge now, and I think that's probably, it does go on a little bit farther, but I know there's quite a boggy area farther up. This is the pond. It isn't lined. It's got the water in all the time. I built a little jetty at the far end. There's the large-leaved pinus, and we have a water lily, not in bud yet. It's large white flowers, and they really do look quite spectacular. This is quite a wildlife area. We have the frogs and the newts here, and also the bats love to fly over. The little pipistrelle bats love to fly over this to get the flies in the early evening. And the view. Yes, our Swarble sheep just saying hello to me. The view, just quintessential Cumbria. So there we have part of the railway siding. Hope you enjoyed this little tour.